Hey, everybody, and welcome back to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. This week, we are connecting with amazing African American performers from across the marching arts community. We'll find out what made Woody say,
it takes them a while to understand that the regiment is good. It's okay. They feel constricted. It's a lot of little things.
And why Nicole said
that you're making history because it's a milestone thing they have never had.
All of this and more on this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in.
It's time for a water break.
Hey everyone, it's Ricardo, and we are so excited to be doing a month-long series of episodes for Black History Month. This week we have some performers who are currently enjoying all that the marching arts has to offer, and maybe for the struggles too. Nicole is going to be on the sideline in just a bit with an interview with Madeline, the newest drum major at the Blue Devil. We have one more episode for Black History Month, and it's going to be a big one. We have a panel of Black female band directors. One is a middle school director, one is a high school director, and one is a college band director. We even have someone joining us from the Association of Black Female Band Directors. Nicole will bring you that episode. Before we see who's on the sidelines this week, go and subscribe and hit the notifications on your favorite listening app. Write us a review and share this podcast with a friend. Got a question or a good topic to talk about? Email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media and DM us if you want to be on the show. We even have a new form now for you to fill out if you want to be a guest. We love having people on the podcast, so check that out at our link in the bio on our social media. Okay, let's see who's on the sidelines. First on the sidelines, Woody, long time no see. How has your season been going?
Oh, it's going pretty good, man. I don't think I've done an episode with you since last season sometime, man. Like in the middle.
You know what? I always say Jeremy always keeps me separated from all of my favorite people.
Well, I thought maybe you didn't like me anymore.
No, it's definitely not that. They just can't have all of this wonderful energy from two amazing people on the same podcast at one time. We're two strong personalities.
We are loaded with people, right?
I know that's right. How's your season going so far, Woody?
Actually, I have no report because last weekend it snowed.
Oh.
Yeah, we got canceled. But it kind of worked out. Kids learned some more stuff. So this week, let the truth be told if it doesn't snow again.
Well, I'm going to hope for no snow for y'all, but that is the opposite of my problem here. We were at a show this past weekend, and it was like 90 degrees during our outside warm-up. So
I'm going to tell you something, Ricardo. I think I got switched at birth because I am a desert baby. I can't stand the snow. I can't stand to be cold, man. No.
Listen, I am contemplating a move somewhere just so that I can be cold because I'm tired of being hot. I can put on enough clothes to be get myself warm and comfortable in the winter. I cannot take off clothes at this point in my life. It's not socially acceptable for me
to true. That's
as
not
naked
true.
as I need to be comfortable in this heat in Florida.
That's not true. They have places for you, Sandy Hook Beach, and all those kind of places. For those who don't know, Sandy Hook Beach is our New Jersey resident place where you can let it all go.
I don't know that anybody wants to see me let it all go. So that's another topic for another podcast.
How about that, man? It's good to see you.
You too. Joining us today are some amazing, amazing performers. They say children are our future, child, and we have brought the children on today. These fine young people are the ones that are really doing the work and bring you incredible performance after incredible performance. Please welcome from AMP Winterguard, it's Aisha Lay. Hi, Aisha.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're so glad to have you here. We're going to talk about your show and what's going on with everything at AMP soon. But I also want to welcome from Crown, Omari Holaki. Omari, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. I'm well. How about you?
I'm fantastic, and I'm so glad that I'm getting to meet you tonight, and we're going to have a little chatty chat.
We sure will.
And we have one of the drum majors from the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, Josiah Copperwood. Josiah.
Hey, how are y'all?
Hey, friend, I'm good. How are things down there in, Tide Land?
It's a bit chilly. We just suffered a loss in basketball, so we're still recovering.
I'm sorry about that. And our final guest on the sideline from Atlanta Quest, we have Christian Elliott Haynes. Hey, Christian.
How you doing? I'm excited to be here, man. Really looking forward to an awesome conversation with you guys.
I love it, Christian, and we're so glad to have you here. Now that we have introduced everyone, let's jump into some news. You know what? I'm going to not do news tonight on my end. So I'm going to pass the torch over to our new and brightest young reporters out on the scene. So, Josiah, I believe you have an article for us first.
Yes, sir. So the Washington Commanders currently are looking to expand their marching band. And so if you are interested in auditions, they are being held March 8th and March 9th. If you want more information, you can look at www.commanders.com/fans/marching-band/auditions.
So, listeners, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and tell you this, that Josiah did not want to do this because as of this podcast recording, he is totally repping a Texans shirt right now. So, and he's covering it up. But, if you are a Commanders fan, hey, go and try out. Christian, you got a big news story for us.
Yeah, so this one comes from mahoningmatters.com. It's basically talking about how the rock group Metallica, they hold a competitive kind of competition where they let bands perform their songs and they pick winners. They'll donate money for their equipment costs. And so this year they have 3 different categories. They have like a small school category, a medium, and a large category. And so the South Range High School in Canfield actually won first place in the small school category. And they've put a little note here from the band director, Roger Lewis. He says, "I couldn't be happier that all the hard work and effort these students put in from July to November is absolutely validated, not just by our community, but by the panel of judges who selected us as a finalist, and also by the members of Metallica who thought we performed the best." I think this is super dope. I think this activity is so niche and small. Whatever we can do to kind of get more of the activity out there, like the general public, I think is super, super dope.
As someone who has been doing marching band for way longer than all of you have been alive, and when in the heat and the high day of Metallica, I remember my marching band doing Metallica in the stands every Friday night in high school. And if this would have been around back in my day, hope that my high school band director had pushed me into this, but they have some really cool music. And I don't know if anyone has watched or looked at some of the social media posts from some of this, but like some of these bands are doing really cool stuff with Metallica. And I love the fact that such a mainstream rock band who has had such a huge influence on the music scene is giving back to the thing that got them involved in this, and that is marching band. So I love it. I love it. Aisha, you have another news story for us.
Yes, I do. So this article is by Robin Miller, and the title is How a Kid from East Felician Parish Became the First Black Band Director in the Big Ten. Okay. So O'Neill Stanford directs the University of Minnesota during a Big Ten football game. Stanford, who grew up in East Feliciana Parish, was the university's first African-American marching band director. And he wasn't really familiar with the weather, just because he was from the South, and he, went to Minnesota, so it was a little cold, but It wasn't the only thing challenging for him. He was the first African American hired to head the band department at the predominantly white University of Minnesota.
Wow. That's cool. History is still being made every day, y'all.
Mhm.
Every
Yes.
You know
day.
what, Ricardo? That's some place you can move to if you want to be cold.
I don't want to be that cold.
You
No.
want to be cold? They're ready for you.
Listen, I need like a light dusting of snow every now and then. I don't need to be buried under feet of snow. Okay. There's a limit.
Prince did it. Prince did it. That's all I'm saying.
I think Prince was born in Minneapolis, so he was used to it. I was born in the South. I just need a little bit of snow, not that much. But we're glad to hear about O'Neill Sanford. That's amazing, to be put into the spotlight in a major program like that. I love the fact that we're making this progress, y'all. But I'm moving on. Omari, I believe you have our final news story.
Yes, I do. This one is about a former cadets member auctioning a painting of actually the cadets, I believe 2007 horn line. And it looks like they're on the way to a show in it. And the name of the painting is called Shall Always Be. And obviously going with the slogan, for Holy Name Shall Always Be. The artist, if I'm looking here correctly, it says Susie Griffa is the artist, and she spent more than 2 years creating this piece. And it was intended for it to serve as a fundraising item to support the future marching members, which is great. And 90% of the proceeds from this auction will actually be donated to the DCI Legacy Fund, which is amazing for members that are amazing for members trying to get into the activity, especially with how pricey it's getting.
Preach.
And her aim is that the work of art will appeal to not only those with feelings of nostalgia and love for former cadets, but also to anyone with a history in the marching arts. And there's a quote here from Griffa herself, or Susie, sorry, and it says, "Let it serve as a tribute to the Corps, the music, and the lifelong friendships that make drum corps a way of life." Now, this one is particularly beautiful to me. With a round of applause. It's particularly beautiful to me because this past season, I marched with a lot of cadets alumni who, unfortunately, they had to fold, and they came to found a home at Crown, and they always talked about the great experiences they had, the lifelong friendships they made, and those carried over. And it was always such a great thing to see just those lifelong friendships sustain no matter where y'all go.
Yeah. I think it's awesome, with all of these drum corps that have such huge legacies. And of course, the cadets are no longer with us. As a person that's in my professional position, I love the fact that someone was able to use one form of art to celebrate another form of art, and thus perpetuating this whole, like, how we're all connected together. It's just a beautiful thing.
I've also never seen this painting too. That's something I would genuinely put up in the crib. It looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I looked at a picture of it and I was like, this is actually really I kind of want this. And I did not march cadets. I wanted to back in the day, but I would want to have this in my house.
If they made one of Crown, I think I would definitely take that.
You know what? I think
if they made one of Crown, that would be right in my room over there somewhere.
Listeners, if you're out there and you're an artist, here we go. We have someone that's commissioning artwork for you. So, it could be your side gig. If you've been involved in the marching arts, only those people who have done it can capture it the right way. So it's a little side gig for you. Go for it. Okay, everyone, we've got to get back out on the floor so we can rep the last section. My girl Nicole has an interview with Madeline Williams, the newest drum major for the Blue Devils, and then we'll be back with these amazing performers and a discussion about what it's like being a Black performer in our activity. We'll be back for more on a water break.
Well, thank you, Ricardo. Right now, we have the distinct pleasure of talking to basically a phenomenal woman, but also this is going to be something that is going down in the history books. So I want everyone to welcome, please, Madeline Williams.
Yes. Hi, guys. Hi, Nicole. I'm very, very excited to be here and just chit chat with you, have a good conversation about just kind of, the marching arts, what that looks like, just being in the DCI space. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, this is going to be more about you and kind of less about the activity. So we are good with that. First off, Madeline, I do want you to, Maddie, we're going to get informal here. Um, did you do marching band when you were in high school?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. What high school did you go to?
I went to Hillgrove High School. I'm from Marietta, Georgia, so Cobb County. So yes, I did go to Hillgrove, and I marched all of high school from freshman year to senior year. I did it all. I did the jazz band, I did the concert band, I did, obviously the marching band. So I was very big in the fine arts space there.
Were you a drum major at your high school?
Yes. I had the privilege of being selected at the end of my sophomore year. So I believe that's 2021. Yes.
So you spent like multiple years on the podium.
Yes, ma'am. It's been conducting for me for a very long time now. Yes.
Okay. So usually I have a really hard time with figuring out what the drum major's instrument was. Don't tell me.
Okay.
Because drum majors are smart people. And I usually put the smart folks with, and I will tell you, I came up on clarinet and then switched to baritone.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Fancy.
I spent a couple of years in drum corps marching baritone. So I don't know. Let me just narrow it down. Woodwind?
Woodwind. Yes.
Okay. Are you an oboe player?
I'm not an oboe player. That's a hard instrument, girl. I do. Shout out to the people who do, but that's definitely not me.
Right. You got to make your own read. Let's see then. Let's go. I'm going to go simpler. Flute?
Nope.
Oh, are you a saxophone player?
Yes. I'm a saxophone player. Yes.
I spy a saxophone player. Well, that's okay. Awesome. Well, going back a little bit more, I guess, and I always have to ask people this because you always have that show that you see in drum corps and you're just like, I'm out. I'm doing that. So what was your breakthrough aha moment show that you saw that made you want to march drum corps?
Absolutely. I think it was Madison Scouts 2022. I was at Southeastern Championships in 2022 with a few friends just because we were invited by my mentor, Jared Gear, who works with Silent Command. And we showed up and we were like, I don't even know what this is. I'm not super sure. It's a marching band competition, just real new person stuff. And we sat in the crowd and we got there a little late. And I remember it was Madison Scouts 2022. I believe it was, what was it called? Innovation 85. They did their ballad and it was As the World Caves In. And they got in that little triangle formation right at the front and they were blaring. It was like they were playing right at me. They were supposed to be playing to the judges, but in my soul, they were playing towards me. And I just was like, whoa, this is super duper cool. I love this. I should definitely make this like my whole life. Really, it was that. And I never looked back. As soon as I started college, it was just, how do I get into a corps? Let's get the ball rolling. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So when your first year, tell me where your first year was.
Yes. So I had the privilege of conducting for Music City, Drum and Bugle Corps, and I was their head drum major. And it was a team of the four of us. And, it was genuinely, I could not have asked for a better rookie year. I think I had a phenomenal experience, out in, middle of nowhere, Tennessee. It's hot, there's bugs, it's humid, but I was just every single day. It was like a dream. I absolutely loved my first year.
Oh, great. So you're not like a horn member turned drum major. You are from the corps, a drum major.
Yes.
That's so awesome. Honestly, to see that as for you as a young Black woman, being a drum major through and through, and then where you're coming into the ranks is, let's talk present day, what you're doing now. Not only is this your dream corps?
I think it kind of is my dream corps.
Tell people what it is that you are currently doing, because
so currently right now, I serve as part of the major team for the Blue Devils. And I, plan on, sticking with that for as long as I can.
At least until you're 21.
Yes, at least until I'm 22. I do get an extra year. My birthday's in June. So 22. So you'll be seeing me for quite a while, for a little couple of years, quite a few.
Right. So in that organization,
yes,
this is, like I said, you're making history because it's a milestone thing. They have never had a woman of color on the podium. So tell me how that makes you feel.
Yeah, I think that, to be honest, I think it's really a full circle moment. Even aside from DCI, just the marching arts in general, I think we can all agree that it's dominated by men and a lot of white individuals. And I think that it's just so, I guess it's almost really humbling that in a way I had kind of become the representation that I wanted to see as a little girl. I think that when I was maybe 13, 14, and I was really just getting my feet wet in the marching arts space, I think that I would have really loved to look at the Blue Devils or the Boston Crusaders or just these big names in the marching arts. I would have loved to see someone like me that was kind of leading that course. So it's really full circle, very, very wow, what is life right now? That is crazy. Yeah. So, and, I think that, it's not just me, there's a team of, us, female drum majors, Black drum majors right now from the 2025 season that are kind of making things happen. So I think, it's just kind of cool to look around and, even last year during tour, when I was talking, I got introduced to Amari Lewis at the Mandarins. And, me and her just kind of looked at each other like, we're taking big steps right now. We're making history. So I'm just so excited and so grateful for the opportunity.
I know for a fact that you are an influencer, even if you don't want to be. You are definitely being you're that inspiration as well. Like I know that when I was marching, I barely saw anyone like me. So being able to look back, whoo, did I get just choked up? Wow, stop. It's really when I see young women, young Black women, young women of color stepping into those spaces, I am so happy and so excited. Because it's just one of those, just one of those things. It needs to happen. And I just love to, if not, know you, but basically let you know, hey, we see you. Keep going, keep doing your thing. Because I love it. I will have to say, everyone has an inspiration, whether they are Black, white, brown, yellow, purple. Who was your inspiration? Who did you look up to a lot as a drum major?
Absolutely. So I was taught everything I know about drum majoring, conducting, being a leader in the marching arts by Mr. Jared Gear. He currently serves with Silent Command as their co-executive directors, I believe. He served in the Blue Devils for his, rookout season in 2022. And he showed up when my high school was like, hey, do you want to be a drum major? And he kind of took me by the hand and was like, oh, I'm going to shape you into something. And he just, the way, just aside from his conducting, which is just gorgeous and just the most clearest, most expressive style of conducting I've ever seen. I just think that his style of leadership is just so amazing. And I look up to it all the time when I'm even last season when I was operating, the biggest thing is I'd be like, what would Jared do? WWJD, what would Jared do? He just always has an answer. He always, and he was always available to call, but he absolutely has been my biggest inspiration. And, he was the first person I called when I got, into college, and I was like, Jared, I want to do drum corps. Help me. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And so he, hasn't left my side. I've been working with him for, I guess this is third, fourth year, I believe.
Wow.
So yeah, he's like my uncle now, kind of cool mentor uncle now. But yes, Jared, Mr. Jared.
Oh, yay. Well, good. Well, let's come off the field a little bit and talk about it. So you're in school. Where are you going to school?
Yes. So right now I'm a second year at Georgia Tech.
Okay. All right. Are you in marching band there or anything like that?
Yes. I'm a music technology major, and I spend a lot of my time in, the music hall. I am a member of the marching band. Not a drum major. I play saxophone there. just because I think, it was time for me to turn to my origins, to my humble origins. So I do play the saxophone there. But yeah, so most of my time is just kind of spent, in the music hall here, which is a little funny because, I'm at an Institute of Technology as a music student, which is a little funny, but it's been an interesting experience for sure, but I love it here. Would not trade it for anything.
I think music definitely is I think a catalyst for all things that you want to get done or want to do. And it also helps. Like there's been studies done that kids in band are just way smarter. I mean, just to put it that way. Now, I cannot cite my sources or anything like that, but definitely I've read it before. Does it feel different to be like in a saxophone line?
It's definitely a lot bigger for sure. My section is, I'd have to recheck with my section leader, but it's like 40 something people. Man, in the marching band, for a college marching band, it's not even ginormous. We have less than 300 students, I believe. And so it's a huge section and it's like a big family rather than maybe just like, 4 people, 5 people as a drum major team. It's every single time you go to practice, you're talking to a new person in that kind of couple hours that you have just because there's so many people in your section, which I really appreciate. The group chats are bigger on campus. I'm seeing you guys.
I didn't see them at rehearsal last
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So on campus, you're just pointing, oh, hi there. Oh my gosh, hello. Like, good to see you again. So it's a little mini community in and of itself.
Now, have you been approached by somebody or anyone? I'm going back to the drum major thing now, but have you been approached by little ones that say, oh, we're so excited to see you on the podium or anything like that?
It's actually, yes. So it's so funny because just last night, one of my peers who she's still in high school texted me and she was like, girl, you're in DC, like you're doing Blue Devils. I'm literally so excited for you. And most of the, I guess my kind of like littles are people that I knew when I was a senior and they were maybe like a freshman in high school. So, to kind of see them and, a lot of them, have become drum majors themselves. And so for them to kind of text me and be like, oh my gosh, like, I just wanted you to know that like, I'm so proud of you. And like, you did great things here. I'm so excited to see you do great things there. It's genuinely every single time I get a message, I get a little teary-eyed. It's so sweet. And I just, I owe everything back to kind of like my community back in Marietta, because I guess in a way, like they saw something in me that at the time I didn't even see in myself. So, it's just, it's once again, kind of full circle, just very, very, very heartwarming. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I think that we both know when I say like, it also takes someone telling you how good you are for you to actually start to believe it and to start going a little bit more forward with it.
Absolutely.
And honestly, you would not, from the way that you're talking right now and just the whole vibe, you would never think that. It's just like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it. And knowing that it has to start from somewhere, there has to be that encouragement that starts that fire. Yeah, completely 100% agree and know where you're coming from. We do ask this of a couple of different people. So I want to ask, like when there's a show, the layout of the show, there's sections. Well, we're not going to talk about sections because now I know you're a saxophone player, but there's sections of the show. So there's obviously the opener. Some people have a ballad, and then you have a closer. It can be bombastic, it can be small, it could be whatever. So what part of the drum corps show are you? Oh, and you can even put in the pre-show.
Oh, okay. What part am I? I feel like I am probably the ballad hit. Like if I had to be like, this is me as a part of a show. Yeah, definitely the ballad hit. I'm, I've been told by, my mom, my friends, everybody that I'm like a very like emotional feeling person. And I don't really try to hide it. Like it's all on my sleeve. And I just feel like, the ballad, it's kind of like the emotional apex of the show for most shows, that is. And I just feel like if I had to, be turned into a part of a show, definitely the part where all the emotions come together and clash. 1,000%. That's me.
Awesome. Because I was just like, some people will just say the ballad, and I'm like, okay. But then, like, the ballad hit, like, that's literally all the emotion in the world.
Yeah.
Because, well, you're on the podium, you feel it. Oh
Right.
my gosh, I just got goosies. Stop it. So I guess my last thing, and I mean, we'll start wrapping up, but like, what are you most looking forward to? I guess right now you're in the marching band, or are y'all still doing shows and things like that, or have you wrapped?
No, yeah, we've kind of wrapped up. We're just kind of doing, like basketball games, volleyball games, just kind of like cute little pep bands. But yeah, no more marching band until August. So yeah.
And so then for Blue Devils, you all are having your camps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're.
All right.
I leave this Friday. So
okay.
Yes.
And how is that transition to go from Music City to Blue Devils?
I mean, it's a big, wild journey to say the least. It's literally, it was like, I guess, like it kind of flipped my whole world upside down. But I think it definitely was a transition that was full of love and respect and care. I actually asked my core director to send me a letter of recommendation when I applied to the Blue Devils, and he was like, absolutely, I got your back. Like, it's done. People that I marched with last season, are, Maddie, are you going to do this? Maddie, will I see you here? It's been full of love and, care and just the absolute utmost respect. And, to step into the Blue Devil space, it was almost like culture shock, thus far, since I guess kind of like is just to take everything in and just absorb. My brain for the past few months has just been a sponge, spongier than normal, just take in everything. Like, how do they act? What do they do? How do I interact with the staff? What's the vibe? Who can I talk to? Let me make some friends. Let me know everyone's names. Like, it's been like just learning. And I think that it's been pretty successful. Very, very excited, but I'm definitely looking forward to this weekend and of course leaving for the summer. Like, I'm so stoked.
Oh, good. Oh, yay. I can't wait to see you out on the field and during tour.
Yes.
I will definitely see you and make sure I do one of these.
I'll do one right back. Yes. And then I'll get ready to start. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, the last thing I did want to bring up is that when people don't know this, but this is a morning interview. And first thing I said was, I'm sorry, Maddie, I had to get my coffee.
Yes.
And
that's my twin. Like, yeah.
She was ready. Well, I've had such a great time talking to you. And I do think that this is not the last time we're going to be talking together.
Yes,
so
I agree.
Can you please let the people know where they can find you on social media?
Yes. So on Instagram, my handle is Maddie_William_S. That's kind of where I do a lot of my, like, here's a picture of me, here's a little post of me. So I think that's where I'm definitely most active. You can find me on Facebook, just with my name, Madeline Williams, with a Y. Those are definitely the two platforms that I'm the most active. But you can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to offer me an internship or anything, because once I'm out of DC, once I age out,
it's time for the world.
Them checks need to start coming. So connect with me on LinkedIn also.
All right. Well, Maddie, thank you so much. It is so great to honestly see you in the marching arts activity where you are with Blue Devils. And we'll be seeing so much more from you, I know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll make you guys proud.
Thank you. All right, Ricardo, you can have your screen back. All right.
Celebrating its 25th anniversary, Guard Closet was founded as a consignment shop in 2000. Since then, it has grown to become your one-stop shop for the marching arts.
Do you need consignment uniforms and flags for your color guard, marching band, or drumline? We have thousands of sets of consignments in stock and ready to ship.
Do you need show design and custom choreography? Our designers have years of experience in the marching arts.
Do you need to sell your items and clear out your storage areas? We take in more than 600 sets of consignments each year and return hundreds of thousands of dollars to our consigners for their sales.
Do you need to have your students order shoes, gloves, and other equipment? We can set up a microsite for easy student ordering of a wide variety of items.
Do you need custom costumes or flags? We can help get you great designs from our team through top vendors like Show Day Designs.
Have you listened to our podcast on a water break? Weekly episodes and bonus content keep you entertained and informed with what's going on in the marching arts.
For over 25 years, Guard Closet has been here to help. Check us out at guardcloset.com or follow us on social media.
And we are back. Everyone put your equipment down. Nicole's interview was pretty amazing, but I want to get to know our 4 young performers. So now each of you have already accomplished some pretty cool things, but we're going to make you do 32 count life stories so that all our listeners can get to know you. So for those of you who don't know, we're going to give you 8 off the mat, and then you're going to tell us your life story from the start all the way up to where you are today in 32 counts off the metronome. You guys ready to do this? All right, Aisha, you are up first.
Hello, my name is Aisha. I was born in Newark, New Jersey, and I was raised in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I started color guard from 5th all the way up to my sophomore year in high school with Mechanicsburg, and then I joined with AMP Winter Guard. I marched Blue Coats, Cadets 2 for 2 years, and then the Blue Devils, and now I'm working and I'm in school for nursing, and I'm still with AMP Winter Guard now at 22 years old.
Wow. First of all, you were so excited to get started. You skipped over your 8 count intro for that, but you have done a lot in your 22 years of age, girl.
Yes.
I'm super excited.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. And the
Yes.
journey's just starting, baby. You just getting going, honey. So there's so much more, and I can't wait to see what comes next for you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Omari, it is your turn. Do you understand the assignment, sir?
Hold on. How fast am I allowed to talk?
Listen, once those 8 counts click off, that tempo is on you. How you choose to interpret the beats that are given, that is on your spirit and your soul.
Okay, another one. Can y'all like turn down the BPM? Because listen, I gotta stutter. Like, I'm not good at this.
It's okay. We are going to love it regardless of how it comes out, okay? As long as it comes from the heart. You ready? All right, let's do this. 8 off the Met, and you're in.
Oh, I can't hear it. My name is Omari Holaki. I was born in San Diego, California, and now I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So you were complaining about snow earlier. I know everything about snow. Anyways, I started off playing football, which you can see my jerseys back there and my medals. Yes, I win a lot. And we didn't get into music at first. And then in the end of my 10th grade, I started getting music. I started off playing trumpet. I was bad at it, and then I started playing tuba. And then all of a sudden, I got invited to join the Calgary Stampede Show Band in 2022, which led me to figure out what drum corps was. And then I marched Carolina Crown, and now I'm going on with that. And I work. I told you that I talk too much. Y'all got to put at 30 BPM.
Okay, so
not as smooth as Miss Lay. Not as smooth as Miss Lay.
Listen, there were so many things there. Okay, first of all, you live in Canada, our friendly neighbor to the north. Okay, cool beans. And then you throw in there that you marched the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah.
It's like the mecca for marching band.
That was actually like my first year ever doing anything marching band in 2022.
Oh my God.
I'd never even like moved with an instrument. I was always sit down band dude.
And now you're playing tuba on the Lord's horn line.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm just going to put that out there. Listen, you can get mad at me if you want to, okay? The Carolina Crown horn line is God's horn line, okay? It is. And we're not going to argue that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still stuck in Canada, but okay.
I feel like I can't talk anymore. I feel like I've taken up so much more than 32 counts.
It's okay. That's fine. We just wanted to get to know you.
Yeah, we're here to talk.
We moved here when I was around the age of 8. And it was because my parents found better jobs and also a lot safer over here. I still got into a lot of trouble as a kid, even though I was in Canada. That didn't change nothing.
No, you did. You were an angel.
No, I was the opposite of a teacher's pet. What would you call that?
A teacher's nightmare?
Yeah, I just talk a lot.
You was a class clown? You was a class clown?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Just talk a lot, But yeah, we moved here just for like jobs and whatnot. And I continued playing football. But then at some point, I was just like, music. I'm in a music degree. Football's taking more of so much of my time. I got to put that away. So.
Wow, that's great that you made that switch. Not that it's great, but it's awesome that you decided that music was going to win out for you, because that's not the case for a lot of people, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. And look at you. Like I said, you playing on the Lord's horn line.
Oh, I love it. I love it there.
He only had the Alouettes to look up to. It's not like he had Eagles or something. Come on, man.
Nah, we don't talk about CFL over here. We don't do that.
Talking about here on the other side of the border either.
I know. Trust. I tried. I was on tour.
Well, my friend Josiah, it's your turn to give us your 32 count life story. You ready for your 8 off the Met?
I'll never be ready, but I'm ready.
Hey, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Here we go.
Okay, so my life started when I was born. I was born in Houston, Texas, and then we had to move to New Orleans, Louisiana, but then Hurricane Katrina had other plans, so we moved to El Paso, and then I ended up in San Antonio. I played tuba in 6th grade because all the other instruments didn't really fit me that well, and then I've played it ever since. I became section leader in high school, then drum major afterwards, played basketball a little bit in high school too. Came to the University of Alabama because it just had like the best offers, and I felt more at home here. And then I also didn't want to be like everyone else. And then I joined the band here, made tuba section leader, drum major, and now I am here.
Wow.
Nice job.
That was good. That was perfect timing on that.
Because we bringing that drum major skill in.
I was going to say, I expect the drum major to have the perfect timing through all of this. So you held up to the title, sir. I love it. I love it. It is wonderful to have you here, Josiah. But we have one more 32 count story to get to. Christian, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm prepared for this.
You are prepared for this. Okay. You know what? I love it when people are prepared. Christian, you get 8 off the Met, and then it is your turn, my friend. Here we go.
All right, what's up? My name's Christian. I'm a snare drummer. I was born in Tampa, Florida, but I went to high school in Johns Creek, Georgia, and I currently live in Atlanta. My first independent marching experience was my sophomore year of high school, and that was through the Atlanta Quest indoor percussion organization. I marched with the open class group for 2 years, and this is my 3rd year with the world class group. I also marched Atlanta TV in 2022. Then for 23 and 24, I marched with the Mandarins, and I'll be aging out with them this summer.
Wow. Christian, another Florida person from right across the bay from me in Tampa. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, when you see me on the road this summer with Mandarins, you better say hey, okay?
Oh, you on tour too?
I'm the colorguard caption head for the Academy, so.
Oh, okay. Fire.
We'll be on the road with y'all most of the time.
That's dope.
All right, so let's just get into a little bit of conversation. So I have my wonderful young performers here, and all of them, as you can tell from their 32 count life stories, are amazing in their own rights. But, as we talk through things for Black History Month, there's some common themes, that we share and all of this stuff. And I just want to get you guys feel for a couple of things. So my first topic of conversation that I'm going to throw out there for you is, what is your biggest challenge being Black in the marching arts?
Dun, dun, dun. And there's
I can go. So I think for me, band and the marching arts was the first big thing I was a part of. I didn't really do a lot of sports, or wasn't really in any clubs or anything. I was pretty to myself. And once I had this experience when I went to high school of being in band, being in indoor percussion as well, it was almost I had these feelings of I'm part of a larger community, right? And I didn't want to do anything to lose it or jeopardize any connections or relationships I might have built. So I think when I was a little bit younger, I definitely struggled almost with like enabling certain behaviors and like my peers and the people around me, because I don't want to seem like the guy that, like, couldn't take a joke or like was overreacting or was soft or anything. But I feel like the marching arts is so like unique because it pulls such a large amount of people from all over the country, all over the even like like overseas and stuff. But that also kind of means that, like, you have groups of people who might not interact with people from other communities in their everyday lives back home. So maybe certain things, certain comments, certain jokes, or maybe can slide in their circle, in their communities back home. But when you're in an environment where there's so many different people, those things might not be as acceptable, right? So I feel like over the years I've really like matured and grown a lot, and learned that, like, if somebody's in your circle, who's like supposed to be your homie, and they communicate with you in a way that you don't agree with, or maybe you find a little bit unsettling, you got to have a conversation. And if they value you as a friend, as a peer, then they'll make it right. But if they don't, then you have to be comfortable with like letting them kind of go and do their own thing, because at the end of the day, if something doesn't, the way somebody communicates with you doesn't make you feel good, or they make a joke that kind of crosses the line, I feel like now I'm kind of like, all right, like cut that out. Like, I can kind of check them a little bit. But I feel like when I was kind of first getting to the marching arts, I was kind of like a rookie, and I didn't really know anything about like, I feel like that was like my first experience like being far away, because like when I marched my first world class year, it was with the Mandarins excuse me, in Sacramento, California. And like, I live in Atlanta. So I was like completely far away from home. I wasn't really comfortable. Like, I was kind of just like getting by. Right. And so I feel like as I, grown and I got older and, more comfortable, I find it a lot easier now to kind of be like, yo, like, why are you kind of talking that way about this community or this group of people? So that's kind of been my experience.
Yeah. I always say that the marching arts are a great connector. And it's one of the ways that a lot of us, one, get exposed to people of different cultures and different backgrounds. And when we come into this place, if we all start with one common goal and one common interest, you can build relationships from there. And like you said, like telling people and saying things that, like, jokes that you may have thought were appropriate, like in a certain group of people, like once you were exposed to those other people that you may have made a joke about, you realize that those have consequences. They have weight. Words have weight to them. And the marching arts does such a great job of being able to put people in all of these different situations together and giving them a common bond, that it allows people to be able to have conversations and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. Let me educate you on this. And I think that that's something that our society right now needs as a whole, because we are all off in our own little buckets and our own little pockets of places. And we get on the internet and think that we can say anything that we want to. And that ain't the truth in real life, because you wouldn't say that to somebody's face. So I'm here for it. Christian, I'm glad that your experiences have been great. Who else wants to talk about this topic? Omari, come on, friend. My friend from the Canada.
Yeah. There's I don't know, I really like what Christian was saying, because that's also a very big thing that I think anyone that isn't in the majority, race group of an activity will go through, especially with jokes, because jokes can be like such a bonding thing, but also something that's really dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's it's a lot of, for me, I wouldn't say it was necessarily hard, but it was definitely an obstacle. Was just like finding common ground culturally, because at least where I'm from, aka the tundra, I'll be, I'm surrounded by people, of the African American culture, and going to a place like Carolina Crown, which there's not actually, it's not even their fault, quote unquote, because not a lot of African American people auditioned. I think I could count like 3. And there's so many things that are done differently, like the things, how we treat each other, and respect is done a lot differently. Like if I were to say something at home, that everything I say at home, sorry, is everything that I would say, out in public. That's how my parents would raise me. But sometimes it's not the case, and especially on the point of saying things online versus what you would say in person. That should be taken the same as what you say at home should be said on the field, especially when you're around people for so long. And I'm the type of person that I can get sick of someone very easily, and they will know. I'll make it very clear. But it's something that I can do to my sisters, but I can't do to the people I'm marching with. So, and by the way, I have 3 sisters. I'm the oldest, so they hear a lot from me. But
I bet you're a great big brother.
I try. Yeah, there's a lot of finding that common ground, and I think I can summarize that whole thing up by just saying the respect is the number one thing. Respect is the number one thing that's a little bit of an obstacle at first, but will always people do good. As much as I say it, people do good with finding that respectable boundary and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your experience, growing up and living in Canada and not necessarily experiencing the same types of barriers that we experience here in the United States, and then coming to the States and doing an organization like this, I think that your experience is truly unique. Um, you said something about not through their own fault, but this is a conversation. If you go back and listen to last week's podcast, we talk about, oh, there should be more of this and there should be more of that, but unless people are actually auditioning and coming into those spaces and knowing that you are valued and worthy in these spaces, there's not going to be that many people of color marching these organizations. When I marched back in the day, I was one of 3 African American people on the color guard at the Cavaliers. And one of them was my best friend who came with me. And the other one turned into my best friend who came from Baltimore. And we were always together. We were always hanging out because we had this shared value. But then other people wanted to be in on that, and they wanted to get comfortable with that. And they asked questions, and we talked and we had conversations, and they were comfortable. They got to understand because, if you come from a small town in Kentucky and you've not really ever seen Black people in the world, you don't necessarily know how to interact with Black people until you're around Black people.
Oh, true, so true, so true.
But like I said earlier, you have this common ground of the marching arts that is the great denominator for all of this. And it's we have this shared goal. So we can use this to move us forward, and we can push ourselves forward as people because we have this common goal that we want to get to. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing. Asia, what do you have to say on the topic, girlfriend?
Yes, so before me and my family moved to Mechanicsburg, I was living in Harrisburg, and it's, a lot of African Americans there. So we went to Mechanicsburg. It was a lot of white kids, very different,
Yeah.
very, very different from how I was raised and raised in my own home. So then when I joined Color Guard, now I'm not just seeing these people just in school and just going home. I'm actually practicing with them, sharing a little bit more personal experiences with them. But I always still felt different, felt left out because I guess, things weren't taken and considerate of how I looked, how my hair is, makeup for my skin tone, colored gloves, tights, I just had a little experience with that. Same thing, making jokes. It's actually really crazy when I think about back then when I was in 8th grade, how jokes were just being flown out and no one would say anything. And so I just felt kind of alone. I couldn't really go to anyone and share how I would feel on that. So I would say now, being with AMP, I remember being in Mechanicsburg. That was the first guard I've seen so many Black people, and I was just wow. I was this is inspiring. This is amazing. And it was just amazing to see people like me that is in this community, and they all look they're so talented. And I just was never around that growing up in Mechanicsburg, and or even just seeing other groups in Color Guard. There's just not a lot of Black people in this community. So when I did come to AMP, it just felt like a family. I felt seen, I felt heard, and I'm so happy now. I'm very connected with a lot of the Black people on that team. And it's like we'll share the same experiences, or if I feel like I know what I'm doing, or if a makeup doesn't fit me, they're like, there's this Black owned product. You know, we just help each other out, and it's very special. And it just feels like a home. But yeah, and I would say I'm very grateful for those people too, because they use their voice. So if there was something that didn't really sit right, or they wouldn't really take and consider it of, the Black people there, and they would say something to voice it. And Amp did an amazing job with changing things around and talking about it, asking questions just to make sure we're valued and everything.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that, as a society, in the last 5 or 6 years or so, we are able to have these conversations openly and honest with each other and say, hey, these are things that aren't working, like tight color and glove color and all of that stuff. I'm so glad that you have found a home where your voice is not only just heard and listened to, but it's valued. And the people in your leadership have made that a priority to make sure that every single person in that organization feels comfortable and feels valued and feels loved. It's great. I'm so happy for you. Josiah, my friend, you are in the deep South at the University of Alabama. And I will say, before we get onto this, your band director is a longtime friend of mine. We went to college together and has been a friend of mine for over 20 years now. And what are your experiences like at the University of Alabama?
Yeah, so about your friend, no, I'm kidding. So, no, I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. So I grew up like in a very diverse environment because it's just so close to Mexico. It's only about a couple hours from the border. So a lot of my friends were Hispanic. There was a lot of African Americans there, different people of like just different hodgepodge of cultures in the band. So making that transition from high school to college and then coming here and kind of seeing the not so proportionate diversity, I guess I would say here, was definitely a huge shift. And kind of one of the most difficulties that I faced whenever I first joined was trying to like fight the preconceptions that people had about me. Because of like where I grew up, I had honestly like never really given much thought as far as like skin color and everything. Like I was just always at home. Like people always just assumed that I was a person. And then I kind of had to learn coming here, not in regards to the $1 Million Band, but in regards to the culture here in the South, it's not always that case. And I had to learn that some people are going to have some tension just by my mere existence, especially because at times jokes, as Christian was saying, and like politics would like love to be brought up. And then I could feel like the side eye from people as like they would discuss these things and were like, like didn't really want to hear my thoughts on it, but were curious if I disagreed because of this. And I'm like, why not just come talk to me? I'm a human being too. Like, and even if my views are different from yours, why can't we share in that? Like, why can't we converse? We used to do that in San Antonio. Like, it didn't really matter as far as like ethnicity or race. We were people. So that was always something that I had to not necessarily fight, but get accustomed to here and show that my voice kind of deserved to be heard as well.
And that's a great voice you have, my friend. Your experience is not uncommon to most of us who are put in situations and put into places that are different culturally than what we are. Myself grew up across the border from Tuscaloosa over in Mississippi, and I understand what that is. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to college and my mind be open, because not only was I surrounded by African American people and Caucasian Americans, but for the first time I was surrounded by people from different ethnicities, Asian people and Latin people and all of these things. And those stereotypes get broken down once you can stop putting labels on people and you can meet people as people. And I think that that's, one of the great experiences of being in college and being all of your age is that you're going to meet all of these different people that come from all over the world and all of these different places. And you have this common ground that you can talk about stuff and you can make each other comfortable. And sometimes making each other comfortable means that you have to be uncomfortable for a little bit and have those very hard discussions. So I applaud all of you for enduring the things that you have endured and making yourself stronger, and thus making our society as a whole stronger just for your mere existence in it and doing the thing that you love. So I'm going to shift gears in our topic of conversation now. So what has been one of your biggest aha moments just in your program growing up, like whatever? What has been one of those moments that's made you go, huh? Kristen, you want to start us off?
I feel like when I was thinking about this question, it actually kind of flows pretty nicely off of what we were just talking about. And for me, it was like kind of realizing how much of an impact like I actually had on other people who wanted to do like the marching arts and wanted to do like WGI and all that. I like a short story. So I marched Mandarins in 23 and 24. In 23, we didn't go to the Atlanta show, but last year we did. And that was like the first time like I had a home show with like a world-class drum corps, and the lot was crazy. And before the lot starts, this kid comes up to me. It's like this big, like, like chubby black kid. Like he's so excited to like come and talk to me. And he's like, "Hey man, like I'm from like a school here in Georgia. And the band program isn't really that big, but like seeing someone that looks like me, like out there in California, just like balling out is like really inspiring. Like I hope one day, I can do what you do." And like I feel like I never really realized, like obviously, like back then it was kind of different because you didn't really get to interact with a lot of people. But like nowadays, like everything is filmed. Like there's so many lot videos. Like every performance, every run is filmed. So like there are so many people that are like seeing the things that we do. And like I remember like the entire day, like I did the performance, I did a lot. Like I packed up, I was just like sitting on the bus, and I was like, damn, like there are people that like I talked to this guy for 3 minutes, and he's looking at me like I'm like his hero, right? It's like it's crazy that there are so many people out there that like I like we don't even talk to, we don't interact with, but we're like impacting them and we're inspiring them. I thought that was like I never really thought about it. Like I think it gets really easy to kind of be like, oh, it's drums, it's it's guards, flags, it's horns, whatever. But like it really is bigger than just band,
man, I could dig where you're coming from because I've had that experience several times. Plus, being in the activity for so long, I never realized how many people looked at me just like you did, and it's one of the things that keeps me interested in the whole thing. I had a life moment like that. Me and a friend of mine, we were the face of United Percussion. We basically started it, and one of the most inspiring things that ever happened to me was I heard two black kids say, "Hey, there's those two black guys who run United." I have never seen a black person run a drum corps or drumline before. That's awesome. And I took the time to turn around and talk to them. And you don't realize the impact you have. And it's nice to see you young guys in it because your experiences are so much different than my experience. I could go off on it, but it's nice to hear how more, I shouldn't say welcoming, but more comfortable it is for you to get in it, and that whole cycle go a lot faster. That's really nice.
Yeah, and that lot too, like hopefully, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but like when you're on tour, like it is so hard to get a haircut. Like when you're like, you got 3 days, like you gotta try and find like a barber that's not going like completely like mess you up. And so in the Atlanta lot, like I had this like black like velvet because I had my hair braided. And so I had like this like black velvet do-rag, like I was wearing it in the line, like it's like I wear it in the finals box, like I couldn't get a cut. And so all the like the kids that were in that Atlanta, they were like, "Oh, he got a do-rag on?" Like, okay, like it was just this awesome moment. That's cool. I didn't know you were one of the guys at United. That's super.
Screw that laundry day. Take me to the barbershop so I can get a line off.
I used to have to actually cut the other two black guys' hair on tour because there was nobody else to be able to do it. So that's a whole thing. And if y'all listen back last week's episode where we talked with Eric Prince from Our Marching Counts, that was one of the initiatives. Like it's little things like that, like being able to do, ethnic hair. And like, that's a thing. But I'm going to wrap that up from Christian and say this, Christian, and this is a phrase that has stuck with me forever. If you see them, you can be them. And for all of you who are on this roundtable right now, someone is seeing you do the thing that you love doing, and you're doing it at a high level, and you are inspiring to them. They can say, hey, I can do that one day. I can be the drum major at the University of Alabama. I can play tuba on the Lord's Horn Line. I can march Atlanta Quest and the Mandarins. I can be a Blue Devil champ, just because you are out there. So, keep representing yourselves well and doing the things that you do, and show your passion and your love for this activity, and be the best that you can possibly be. Anybody else have an aha moment they want to talk about? Omari.
Yeah, I have so much on this topic right here, because there was, forgot where I
It's a
was.
lot, right? It's a lot to
Yeah,
say.
it's a lot.
And you can't gather it all in one concise moment, because the experiences, they flash by so quick, and there's so much information to digest. I'm from Philadelphia, so just getting into the activity, stumbling into it, it was very awkward. I can only imagine what it's like now, because at least back then we had lots of music programs, even in the black neighborhoods that were very big. Now there's so less, so fewer people who are involved in it. It's a bigger world for you to step into.
Mm-hmm.
Not sad, but thanks for the music chime.
But yeah, this is more after this past season. It was, I work with Silent Command, which is a group that does training does clinics with band groups, and also does training, private lessons. We get private lessons instructors and whatnot. And the director, Jared Gear, he's also black, and he it was funny because he was like, I've been dying to meet you. And I was like, what's so good about me? And he was like, when people usually talk about Crown, or when I talk to people about Crown and I've talked about you and Crown, people usually go, ooh. And I'm like, why is that? Why is it that people say that? And they're like, oh, it's just like not many black people go to Crown. I'm like, I really had to sit back and think, wait, why is that? Yeah, why is that? And, I think back to the it's not their fault thing, but it's more of like, I didn't realize how many people might have seen doing Crown and been like, oh, okay. So like, we're kind of receptive to this group. Again, not Crown's fault, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this past season, there's been, as I said before, I was like, I think I was one of three like African American people in Crown, and then there was this past season, I can't even count on two hands how many auditioned and how many received contracts, And I was talking with one of the kids there at this past camp, January camp, not February, and he was like, yeah, just seeing you, and he was like, yeah, I've been dying to meet you, and seeing you doing this, like seeing you on the media pages last year, like really told me, okay, then this is something I can go for. Which, by the way, if you've looked at Crown's media on tour, I was kind of farming that media team. I was I was getting in there. I was
Get your shots, man. Get
yeah,
your shots. Pull up the gram.
I see the camera. I was like, getting all ready. But my peers, we joked about it. It was just like, oh, we joked about it. So they love you. They love the dreads. But it was like, well, I mean, maybe they like the dreads. Maybe they like me. But it's just, I didn't realize how much that could inspire people, and especially young kids, just like Christian's story. It's just, unfortunately didn't get to talk to many people while I was in lots and whatnot, because just brass lots are so regimented. But it was just, yeah, it's a really good feeling to know that, like, oh, I'm someone, just me being the goofy guy I am or doing what I do can inspire so many people, no matter who it is,
I have a little bit of a theory on why people would say that about you being in Crown. Your situation is the same as in Phantom. You don't see a lot of brothers and sisters go to Phantom. I think a lot of it is from our culture. They don't magnetize towards that style of music. Two, I find that just being a band director, the people of color, the music they listen to influences how they play. And you're talking about like a Phantom or Crown is very regimented, where a lot of the younger players, they listen to music that's a little bit more old, a little bit more rhythmic. It's just not their thing. So it's very surprising, I guess, to some people when they see it. Over my course of the years, a lot of Black students don't like that regiment. It takes them a while to understand that the regiment is good. It's okay. They feel constricted. It's a lot of little things. And if you've been in a music program that your band director has not introduced you to the classics, they just don't have a love for it. So that's just a small theory for me. Another one of those subjects you could just go off the deep end.
Yeah, it's a big thing because especially even at Crown, I'm not sure how many groups do this, but like we even go down to the detail of putting our pencils at the right angle, at the right space on our towel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not in our culture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not in our culture. And I don't mean that in a bad way for us. It's just our families are not raised that way. We're raised more like, hey, just put it here because we got to survive.
Yep.
So that's why I would think like with Ricardo marching the Cavaliers, it's more of a blend of the classical, but it's still kind of hip. So, I could do that, but I can't do that Crown thing. Even though they both play the Firebird Suite, they're two separately different Firebird Suites.
Two different approaches.
Two different approaches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's pretty smart, Woody, how you said that. That's 100% accurate. Aisha, what's your aha moment?
Yes, so I would say my aha moment is actually similar to Christian. This is when I was marching Blue Devils, and it was we just got done performing, and this Black mom, her Black daughter came up to me, and they were like, "Oh, like we saw you in the field, and we just want to give you like $50 because you performed so beautiful." And she loved performing, talking about her daughter. Honestly, like it literally. I don't know how to describe the feeling, but I kept saying like, thank you so much. It felt special because I'm like, this could be you, it's like, don't ever doubt yourself, or don't ever feel like you can't do anything because you don't look like the next person, right next to you. But, it was just special because it's like, I didn't know I could make an impact on somebody like that, It just felt rewarding. And I do want to give a shout out because I know you guys were talking about the hair on tour. Blue Coats, I was struggling. But with Blue Devils, I do want to shout out to them because our drum major, Jared, he did talk to them to just put in a word for the Black people on the team to see if we can get our hair done. So for, I think, 2 free days, they found a Black-owned salon, and me and this girl, Lena, we were able to get our hair done. So just want to put that out there.
Love that.
Yes.
I love that. And you know what, Aisha? I'm going to say it again. If you see her, you can be her. So you have inspired another young person that's probably going to want to be a Blue Devil.
I would probably say her influence probably has more impact than the Horn people, because out of the 3 sections, you see the least amount of Black women in our activity. So when you see it, especially in a Blue Devil situation, you're like, oh my goodness, is she Black? Yeah, I think she is. It's an incredible thing. So I understand where you're coming from with your experience. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
A lot of weight on your shoulders, sister.
Speaking of like hair places, getting your dreadlocks retwisted is impossible. I don't know how people did it. I did not do it.
Listen, when I was on tour, by the time we got to the end of the summer, this summer, because this is the first year that I was on drum corps tour and had dreads. My dreads were so raggedy on the roots. It was bad. My hairdresser, my loctician looked at me and was like, "Why have you not been here in so long?" And I was like, "I was on tour. I can't just go get my dreads redone." But, it's all good. Now that I don't have to be there all the time, I'm going to make sure my dreads are fresh whenever y'all see me at shows. Yeah, Christian, we got you.
Got a hand up.
Josiah, I'll let you wrap up the aha portion of this. What's your aha moment?
I guess. Sorry, I have like so many of them throughout. I think a lot, but I'm gonna go with the trend. I think like my aha moment in the band was like being able to recognize like the impact that you have gives you power to both like impact other people's lives, but also prevents you from impacting them the negative way. Because I see that like a lot of the negative leaders that I've had in my life all share one thing in common, and it's that they didn't recognize their impact. And so I'm sorry, I'm trying to say this without like naming names, but and it's not your friend. Your friend is an amazing leader. I'm talking about like high school. But yeah, like in high school, I had a certain leader that just was completely not aware of his high standing position and would walk around just cutting people, like metaphorically, just cutting people like down the street, and would talk to freshmen like freshmen and just new members, and like you don't know that you don't know that we do things this way and this is how we do it. You're stupid because you can't like get this right. And it's like, no, literally. And then so like I've just seen that like throughout my years that like a lot of people who don't recognize their impact soon enough like are the ones that are going to be out there hurting people because they don't realize that they carry such a weight. And I almost fell into that trap too, not telling people they were stupid, but not recognizing my impact because until like the first couple of games where like I'm just walking and you get so caught up in like the rehearsal mentality, like you've been doing this thing for so long and it's so repetitive, and your brain is like trained. I'm a biology major, so this is happening, but your brain is like trained to like weed out stimuli that are like constantly happening. So like when you do something for so long, it just becomes natural to you. And then you forget to like other people, that is like mind blowing. Like I'm sure like to Omari, it's like what he like just does on a daily basis. But like to me, like Crown Hornline is like, oh my gosh, like dude, you get to say you're a part of that. Like that's insane. So like whenever we're walking to games and stuff like that, and then I just see like my favorite thing is like just to see like the little kids go like, oh my gosh, like that is like the drum major of the $1 million, like, and he's like standing next, he's breathing the same air I'm breathing, and I'm like, and I love to just turn and be like, what's up, like you want to take a picture? Because like to you it's so simple, and then to them it like literally
It's the world.
the power to change their course of their life.
It's their world.
You're just thinking, I don't know, I just did it. Well, you could do it. Well, it really wasn't that much.
Fantastic.
I find that
All right.
people hate that about the way we approach it too. That's what I find. That why do you just let everything just roll off your back? I don't know. It just don't seem that hard to me. I don't know. So, go ahead.
I have the same way, Rudy. I have like the same, like, it's like I don't want to be mean to people. My brand is love and light all the time. And like I want more people to be a part of this. I'm not going to turn them off by being mean to them or cutting them down. Now, corrections, if you're doing something wrong, that's one thing. But being a bad person, ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, my friends. So I'm going to ask you one last question, and I want you to do this in one singular phrase. Okay. Everybody gets the same thing, and think about it for a second. But this question is going to be, what is the best thing about the marching arts? In a singular phrase, the best thing. Christian. A paragraph, 5 to 7 completely well-written sentences, as I would do an assignment for my kids in class. Wow, that was profound. That was profound. And a single statement, Christian. You nailed it. I love it.
That's that snare drum culture. I said that's that snare drum culture. You got to understand it's like a guild. If you're not a snare drummer, you can't understand. You know what I mean, right? It's like being a rifle. You know what I mean? A rifle and a saber have their own culture.
Yep, it's true.
That was truly a snare drummer talking right there.
Omari.
Yep.
What's the best thing about the marching arts?
Okay, here we go. I'm going to say depth. The depth of the activity, because there's so many levels to it. And people enjoy it at so many levels, no matter if it's like class 1A to class 6A to drum corps. Like everyone has a love for it. And it's almost as competitive love as it is for sports, because people are like, oh, I marched, hey, let's say two people come together in like drum corps or something. They're like, I marched Avon, and then I marched Shebra and something like that. And they're like, oh, you marched there? And it's like, oh, we saw you guys here. And it's just, everyone has a deep love for the activity, whether you're in it, out of it, or just getting into it. Unlike even someone like my sister, who was able to come with my mom last season and see what it was about. And she was like, whoa, wait, this is like nothing like it is in Canada, And obviously it's like, there's a few things, people don't always have the resource to enjoy it. But I feel like the people that enjoy it are usually some of the better people in this world, who tend to love everything in life and not take stuff for granted. That's what I would say.
Ooh, agreed. Deep. That's deep.
There's nothing wrong with competition, bro.
Yep.
And it's not. Aisha, what is the best thing about marching arts?
I would say the best thing about marching arts is meeting new people and creating special connections. I love meeting new people and just making new friends. No matter how long you've been doing the program, you'll always find a new person to connect with every different season. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing. And I definitely try to cherish that. Now that I'm more older and I'm getting to that age where I'm like, I might have to stop soon. Like, I try to cherish those moments even more. And just getting being able to experience new opportunities, even being on this podcast. Like, this is an amazing experience, something new.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Aisha. Josiah, you get to wrap it up. What is the best thing about being in the marching arts?
I am not going to lie. Everybody in order stole all of my answers, but I came up with a new one. What was it? I would say it's going to still sound like I'm copying Aisha, but it would be the memories that I've created, because you spend all this time, hours each week, just working to perfect at the end of the day, like this 8, or for us, like sometimes this 6-minute show. And like, sometimes that can be like arduous, and like, it can just be so draining. And like, the only thing that keeps you going is like the memories and the laughs that you have with the people that you love, doing what you love.
And I will tell you, as someone who has been doing this for a very long time and has been away from it for a long time, those are the things that you will cherish. Those memories of those moments of working an 8-count phrase or a section of whatever are going to stick with you forever. Okay, everyone, let's get back out onto the floor so the guest clinicians can get into sectionals.
Here we go.
Marching by Montez is a visual design business based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but provides services to ensembles all across the country. Our services include custom drill and staging for marching bands, indoor winds, indoor percussion, and winter guards, as well as custom band and guard choreography for all 3 winter idioms and marching bands. We now offer program coordination for ensembles throughout the U.S. and custom graphic design for all of your uniform, props, flags, and floor needs. In-person and virtual program consultation options are now available through Marching by Montez, as well as custom sound design for your indoor winds backing tracks, winter guard soundtrack, and show soundscape needs. Visit us at marchingbymontez.com, contact us at joey@marchingbymontez.com, and check us out on social media at Marching by Montez.
Okay, everyone, we are getting back out onto the floor. We're going to start a new segment called 60-Second Tech Block. Each week, one of our hosts or guest clinicians will be forced to give a 60-second tech session with the section needing it the most after the last run. So basically, our special tech this week has to choose 3 topics that they think they can give a 60-second nonstop speech about and maybe help some people out there. This week, we are bringing in Woody to do some old school teaching. All right, Woody, you said that your best topics were 1, the importance of 8 on a hand for warm-up. 2, marching band and color guard coordination with the music team? Or 3, why do kids choose groups to march with based on footwear? All right, panel, my wonderful guest clinicians tonight. What do you think we should have Woody talk about tonight?
As a drummer, that 8 on the hand sound kind of good. Not gonna lie.
I feel like I need to hear when you talk about footwear. Like
I need the footwear.
That's just something I need to hear.
Oh, okay. I am torn right now between footwear, and I really want to hear about the marching band coordination with the music team. So, Woody, I'm going to throw you a curveball right now, and I'm going to ask you, why do kids choose groups to march with based on their footwear? Okay. So, we're going to give you 60 seconds. Josiah, you got your phone ready? Josiah is our drum major in charge of time right now. Woody, you're going to get 60 seconds on the clock. Josiah is going to time you. And you are going to tell us, why do kids choose groups to march based on their footwear in the winter season? 60-second tech block.
60-second tech block! Oh! So, here's a question for you. Like, I had this terrible experience. We brought just the standard, marching shoe. And the kids in this particular group freaked out. And this was about 10 years ago. So now I'm buying some shoes for my high school, and I'm actually stressing over the shoes. I want to know, why is the damn shoe that important? Like, why does it have to be a Puma? Or why does it have to be the soccer Adidas? You know what? You don't care about it outside. Why make so much difference? I'm trying to save costs for everyone. You're already paying like $5,000 to march in a winter program, and now you want a pair of $150 shoes because you don't care. The shoe is more important than anything. No.
6,
Put
5,
take the
4,
shoes off. March barefooted.
2,
I don't care.
1.
And one, that's it. I'm done.
Wow, Woody. Oh my goodness. I am dying right now. Okay. So listen, as someone who is very fashion forward, I think I can identify with these kids that, like, I'm going to pick the group that's going to match their footwear best to fit the theme of the show. I mean, that's kind of important.
My footwear's got to be righteous in my street clothes.
That don't translate over into the marching world too?
No, as long as my uniform is clean and looks good. No one's looking at my feet unless you're a visual guy. I'm looking for the entertainment. Plus, again, I'm a snare drummer. Our feet are not the thing. Our hands and our upper body is it. So, like, who cares about my feet?
Okay, I come from color guard world, so I mean, we're barefoot anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I will say this: on the marching band field, I am one that does coordinate footwear to what the theme of the show is. So if I can get away with buying some sort of athletic shoe that's cool that fits the uniform, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
I'm an old guy. I got to keep up with the times. I'm in. Just a rant. My bad.
Well, with that, I think this is a perfect time to talk about, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Those beats sound kind of fresh, don't they? I know. What you're thinking.
They are fresh beats, yeah. Woody, you know what? Since you did such a great job on the 60-second tech block, I am going to get you to start us off with, what are we doing tonight?
Man, I feel like Stephen A. Smith on here today. Okay. What are we doing? With our drum programs, our younger instructors are not understanding the sheets. They're writing stuff to keep up with the world teams. Stupid. I'm quite sure you see the same thing in color guard. Clearly, the regional A sheet is very specific. Just do the basics well. But no. We can't go that route. And I won't lie, I caught myself. I was in a video meeting, and Giff Howard was talking, and I'm thinking about, after he finished talking, I hang up cut off the camera, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? and I went back. I'm like, well, this is out. That's out. This is out. They're just going to have to cry because we're regional A drumline. There was just no need for the stuff we were doing. I was just writing for myself, basically. It was like personal art. Nah, no more. I'm back.
Listen, the same thing does happen in the color guard world. I am constantly having to tell these young instructors, like, listen, you just came from marching your world-class color guard. Do not get out here and try to run with all these crazy tricks and all this stuff. Your regional A color guard does not need to do that. You do not need to do that. Basic skills is what it says, okay? If you can't stand up and spin in a block together, do not try to do double turnarounds. It's not going to happen for you, sweetie. That's not your ministry. It's not.
Clank, 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 clank.
Clank, clank, clank. Exactly. Clank, clank, clank with the flagpoles. Aisha, what are we doing?
Okay. And it could be anything that like bothers me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I would say I don't like, okay, I know this activity is competitive, but I do not like to see other people commenting on like organization, social media platforms, like negative stuff. I like actually I don't like that. Like, we all work hard. They're not judging themselves. Like, blame the judges. Don't take it out on other like performers. I don't know, just still give credit, still support one another. We're all doing the same thing. It honestly makes me annoyed. It does. It does.
Listen, preach, preach, preach. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing
Don't
at all.
say
Like,
it.
why do you need to go on somebody's page and say
Exactly.
something or post or whatever? Like, we are all working hard. And you know what? Here's the thing. This is the fact about it, is that the people that are commenting are people that cannot do the thing.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes.
Say it
Because
again.
anybody that's in the activity that understands this, they are not going to be commenting on something in a negative way. They're going to appreciate when you do something well. And if you do something bad, they're going to shut their mouth because you know what? That's bad juju. So,
yes. And can I add one more thing?
Add it.
Okay. And I also don't like other groups having like animosity towards others because maybe another group's getting way more recognition than the other one. Like I said, we should just support each other. But
support and love. Do your thing and do your thing well.
Yes.
Omari, what are we doing?
I'm going to move on to a different topic because that got me. I'm very competitive and I let scores affect my mood. I'm trying to work on it. I very much am trying to work on it, but I let it affect my mood. And I don't think there's anyone in this world that can listen to a horn line one day and listen to a horn line the next day and say that they're 0.1 apart from the day that they were. There's no one in this world that can do that. And I really don't think that brass judges, especially one person, can sample something from one side of the field and get everything that they need to about that group. And what I mean by that specifically, last year we had a tuba feature that was probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever played in my life. And in a good way, though, because it was really hard. But it got down. And in all the brass tapes, throughout the whole season, not one stood in front of us. But we were still going up, down, left, right in them scores. No matter how clean the tuba feature was, no matter how bad it was. And just that system, sometimes it turns gears in my brain that are really, it gets me really upset sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's the best for the activity. But I think if you're going to really make changes, make it a few days after. Make it, not between shows, maybe 2 or 3 shows. Because things don't happen that quickly,
It's all in the moment, bro. Nothing more, nothing less. When you have great programs like you're part of and you're a tenth or so apart, it's just who'd I like better that night? No more, no less. Don't take it personal.
Yep. Do not take
it
personal.
I really try.
Josiah, what are we doing?
Okay, I don't have like personal ties to DCI, so mine goes out to the college bands, and I'm not like adding anybody. I could, but what are we doing? Playing popular music and sounding bad doing it. Like, I understand there isn't. I'm so sorry. This sounds so arrogant, but it's arrogant because, like, why are you gonna do something if you're gonna do it bad? Why do anything if you're gonna do it bad? Like, that has never made sense to me, that we go to these away games, or like we have these college bands come and perform in front of us, and we're like, like we hold ourselves to a standard. I'm not out here saying we're like the best in the nation. I would argue we're one of, but like, it's because we put in the effort into the basics, as Monsieur Woody was saying earlier. Like, we don't just leave the basics behind and let's go play Fiend or whatever, like it's the popular song out there at the time. Like, we actually put in effort. So what are we doing, like trying to be popular and trying to be trendy and do it like sounding bad while doing it? Like, anyway, I'm so sorry.
My college band director, who is also your college band director's band director, had a phrase that he used with us all the time. He said, that is not meant for public consumption. And if it was not meant for public consumption, it was not going to be played that day, period. No matter how long we worked on it, no matter what it was supposed to be, if it was a traditional something, whatever, if it is not meant for public consumption, do not put it out into the public. Okay?
I'm about to steal that phrase. Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo.
You're welcome. I owe that to Mr. Gary Wayne, Dr. Gary Wayne Adam. That is his phrase. We're going to let him coin it. Christian, what are we doing?
Okay, it's crazy because literally in my notes, I had overriding and I had keyboard warriors. And both have been said in something. But one thing that I just thought of, what are we doing not allowing perk judges on the field, right? Like, there are so many, like, you can only get so much of a read standing on the front sideline. There are so many moments you end up missing, like the battery playing something in a different part of the field. I think it's good for front ensembles, right? Because if the judges are standing in the front and they're going to sample a lot of that. But I feel like, they know what they're doing. Obviously, there's some safety concerns, and maybe, when you're watching it from the audience's perspective, like, what's that weird green dot in the form? Like, I get it, but at the same time, there is that like competitive aspect where you can't get the full sample size of what's going on in the writing from just standing on the front sideline.
May I speak on that?
Yeah, please do.
Because there is one example that I have, and that was the Blue Knights 2023 bass feature. They done had like pressure changing basses that change the tones of the basses. How are you supposed to judge that from the stands or from the front sideline when they were back on that prop? I don't know. That is something that I posted crazy about on my social media because I was like, they were proposing all these rules, and I was like, why are we removing people from the field? The field is where stuff happens. The staff clean from the field,
Listen, I'm going to play devil's advocate because I marched back in the day when the judges were on the field. And it was like Frogger back in those times. Because as color guard people, we were always trying to take out a judge if we could.
Take them out.
And our visual design was nowhere near as complicated as visual design is today, but I totally get it. I totally get being able to be up close and personal to see what's happening. But it's a dangerous game, y'all, if we're going to keep doing the visuals the way that we do them in 2025. Judges, it's harder for them to get in and out safely.
See, you guys missed that whole era of when you would see a judge get trapped inside a form and he's just running for his life. You could thank the cadets for that.
Yeah, it is the cadets' fault.
Does anyone have like a video of that or an example?
Oh, I'm sure
that started like
that's before everyone had camera phones and were constantly recording everything. So unfortunately, these are things that are lost to history. And for those of us who are ancient artifacts from the past time, we're the only ones that can tell you about those stories, and you have to relive it through our memories. All right, everybody. Thanks for a great rehearsal this week, and what a great way to celebrate Black History Month. Thank you to our guest clinicians this week, and good luck with your seasons. Hey, everybody, tell us where to find you on socials. Aisha, what's your socials handle?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Aisha Lay with the _.
Love it. Omari, what about you?
My Instagram is Omari M. Holaki.
Josiah?
Okay, so I'm trending, so the only social media I have is Facebook. So you can like look up my name, I guess. But like you could also you could at the MDB drum majors on Instagram, I think. I think that's the one.
I'm gonna go follow that page today. And Christian, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Chris X Drums, CHRIS X DRUMS.
I love it. Thank you so much, my friends. Hey, got a question or a good topic to talk about? Email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media and DM us if you want to be on the show. We even now have a form to fill out if you want to be a guest. We love having people on the podcast. Check that out at our link in the bio on our social media, or you could just take out your phone and make a video and send it to us, and maybe you'll see yourself on the podcast soon. One more thing. Don't forget that we have a YouTube channel now that has many of our interviews as full video editions. Go and subscribe so you don't miss those. Also, before you close out your podcast listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Now go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.